Welcome back to the shop today, guys and gals. Today we're going to go over my impressions and my overall review of a new game system you may have heard of. It's called Forager. Sit back, get ready, now. Okay, guys and gals, we're going to go through Forager today. This is a game that was introduced to me by a good friend, Rob Rhodes. One of the first games I played with him. Really like this game. What is Forager? Well, it's set in the Napoleonic War period. Now, the first game I played, we were playing American Revolutionary War, figs, and you could certainly go really any black powder era, Indians, French Indian Wars, Napoleonic, Spanish Peninsular, any of those periods would be perfectly fine for this rule set. Now, Forager is a skirmish game, and I'm calling skirmish gaming the gateway drug to mass battle gaming. However, guys like me who have been used to playing mass battle games for years and years, this is very refreshing to us as well. Why? Why is it refreshing to me as a player? Well, when you're building mass battles and you're painting lots and lots of figs, you tend to go with your painting style tends to be tabletop standard. I mean, you can't be spending an hour per miniature, obviously, for hundreds of figs. And one of the things that's appealing to me as a gamer with a skirmish style game is I don't need as many figs, and I can spend more time per fig, per miniature, to get really good layering details. I mean, I can really, use 4 or 5 flesh tones. I can use 3 or 4 tones on the jacket to get the shading. So I can really get some really nice pristine minis. So we're going to talk about all that. But first, I'm going to go over the thing that makes this different from other skirmish games. And I'm really just getting into skirmish games, but this one seems to, what I've read about other games, Bolt Action, Saga, other games like that out there, Sharp Practice, all highly rated games. They're supposed to be very good games, especially Bolt Action 2nd Edition, which we'll be delving into at some point here in the future on the channel, is the issue of character creation. Now, that is what I feel makes this game really unique. It's made by Stand 2 Games, and it just came out of Kickstarter. That's how I was able to get my copy, was through Rob Rhodes. He was a Kickstarter supporter and was able to grab me an extra copy. Thanks, Rob. And character creation. Okay, so any of you guys were old Dungeons and Dragons guys, that was my gateway drug into gaming back in the late 70s. So character creation, you really have each fig as its own unique character, and you build a character card, or you can create a character sheet, whatever it is you want to do. I'm going to do cards. I haven't set it up yet, but on my system in my office, I'm going to have to go with some sort of a PDF file. And I'm also going to spin this off with my battle group cards also. So I'm going to create some sort of a system where I can plug data into the cards and insert photos onto the cards, print them off, and put them in card holders. So I'll show you briefly what they show here in the book as a character card. So you can see that they've taken a photo. I'll get the focus on there, and you can see the different things on your character card. Weapons. On this particular character, he has a smoothbore musket and a bayonet. One of the equipments listed on his character card is alcohol. His trait is tough. his skill is 7, and that's a big factor in this game because it's everything's skill based on what turn you take and your movement, and we'll get to that in a minute. He's got a field craft of 2, so there's different field crafts you can have, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And then he has fatigue, and there's a certain level of fatigue, and as his fatigue goes down, the character dies basically. So that is a really unique aspect to this skirmish game. You can literally just have 1 fig versus 1 fig on a 3 foot by 3 foot play area. You know, just grab a battle mat, throw up some scenery, houses, some woods, whatever you want to do, and you can literally have mano a mano skill level 9 guys, top skill level guys, fighting against just each other. The book recommends 6 to 10 figs per group for a skirmish. It's really what you want. You could probably go a little higher than that. Obviously, we want to keep this skirmish level, so you're not wanting to do huge amounts of miniatures on the table. 6 versus 6 is a good number, and so that's what we're going to get into here. I'm going to go over my points that I need to cover with you guys, because one of the things you'll find, and what I've been dealing with is, since I've been dealing with box sets for my Napoleonics in 28 millimeter, I'm finding that wow, how do I just get individual figs, right? I'm not wanting boxes of 30, right, all in ranked up and all in certain poses. What I'm going after, like with what I mentioned with my painting, I want really unique, high quality metal cast figs, something that I can really put a lot of work into, and they can each be their own little individuals as far as their characters. So we're going to go over that first. So that's kind of where I kind of have an issue, and I mentioned it on other videos. A lot of these miniature companies are based in the UK. The problem, at least as far as I have experienced, is that if I don't call my bank and tell them I'm going to make a purchase, like say today from the UK, and they put a special note on my account, when I make that purchase and it gets processed, and that's the thing, it would have to be processed today. So it involves you getting on a telephone, calling international call, placing your order and say, hey, you got to process this today, and then you got the time difference. It becomes a really big problem. So here's a note to you guys running companies in the UK. It's really incumbent and beneficial to you to have some sort of distributor network. Either it's find a gaming shop, someone over here who can distribute your product in the US, process the payment in the US, has US business hours. It makes it a whole lot easier for this market for us to go for it, because I've purchased things through Warlord online, and I've had my card shut down, and I've had to call, and you have to go this whole rigmarole to get your card back on. I even had an instance where I was ordering some Perry miniatures, and they literally shut down my card, and I had to order a new card. You know, it took, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days for another debit card to come. That was a real hassle. And the bank told me, hey, you got to call. They would have to process the order that day, because we can only put this notation on your account for 24 hours, So you get where I'm going with this. So I was really pressed today. I sat down and looked for distributors for either single figs, or Perry can come in like 6 packs of figs, where there's 6 figs in a pack, and they're all individual. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll put on the descriptions below, if you're here in the US, a resource to get figs for this game or other skirmish type games that are 28 mil in the era that you want to game in. So I really am drawn to the Perry. I've got Perry miniatures in metal. The detail is amazing. I really like painting them. So I'm kind of gravitating towards Perry. So I like to use the War Store. The guy that runs the War Store since 1999, his name is Neil. He's a great guy. You can call him. You can also order online with your debit or credit card. I like to call and kind of get a feel for the stock. So I have a list made up of the things I'm wanting to order. I'll call them during their business hours. They're based in New York, and they can let you know, hey, we've got this in stock. We can send this to you right away. They get orders of Perry miniatures twice a month, so at most it's going to take 3 weeks for you to get your figs, depending on when that order falls, right? So they order on the 1st and the 15th of the month. So the War Store, go there. The Perry miniatures, like I said, they come in 6 packs for $10.99, so you can pick different, like Militia, Continentals, in case of American War of Independence. You can also get mounted figs. They come in 3 packs, generals on horse. You can have dragoons on horse, colonials on horse, militia on horse, etc. And it's $13.50 for 3, a pack of 3. And they're all individual. They're not, one looks like the other too. So that's the uniqueness factor that you're going to want to look for. Now the next figure company out there that's really good is Front Rank Miniatures. Now I only found one resource so far, and if you guys want to put in the comments below, here in the United States, a good resource and distributor for Front Rank metal miniatures, 28 mil, is Triangle Miniatures, like the Triangle Miniatures. He has a system where you can call or you can email him your order. He'll tell you what the cost is with your shipping to your location and what the total would be, and then you can apparently call and pay them online with a debit credit card. Obviously you could probably mail them a check if you wanted to also, if you don't like to use credit cards or debit cards. So those are only 2 resources I found as of the date of this filming, and that's what this is about, guys, where we can let others know if you know places to get these 2 lines. If there's other lines that you recommend that you've had a good experience with, put it in the comments below and let everybody else know where we can go to get these great miniatures. But back to the book and back to the rules. The first thing I'd like to go over, what I really liked about this rule set, is the book construction. And I think a lot of the big name companies, the Warlords, Games Workshop, these big companies need to go this route, or at least outside of your hardback publication is offering like a player's book. I guess you could call this the player's handbook. You could call it the gamer's book. But you see, it's ring bound, and it's more almost like a cardstock. So you've got a nice slicky on the front and the back, and then there's the cardstock is very heavy. No, I wouldn't say very heavy, so that it's not going to wear very quickly, and it's going to be perfect for opening on the game table. You can take it around. It's very light. I think they're getting about $20 US for these, but contact Stand2 Games, stand2.com. I think the last time I checked on their website, it's still kind of under construction. This is a very young company, so they do have Facebook. You can message them through Facebook, and if any of you guys from Stand2 Games, any of you, the company individuals who would like Adrian, I know he follows me on Facebook, my Facebook group. Hi Adrian, great game, I really enjoyed it. But again, if there's some way you could get a US distributorship over here, maybe you could contact Neil at thewarstore.com and maybe discuss getting these over here, some cases of these. Also, Rise and Fight Again, which is the American War of Independence rule set that I recently did a short battle report on here several videos ago. I'm having a little trouble getting that ordered. I made some comments on Facebook, on the Stand2 Games Facebook page, and not really getting a lot of response on how I can get my hands on a copy without going through the rigmarole of contacting my bank and all that jazz. So yeah, so just some foods for thought. Again, my Facebook wargaming group is Crazy German, crazy with the Z, Crazy German Wargaming Group. Get on there, get on my Facebook. You guys can message me, we can bounce off ideas about getting your products distributed over here in the US. So yeah, that's big. Warlord Games, I know, does have other distributors over here. I know Neil is a big distributor for their products. He also, obviously, with Perry Miniatures, he carries entire lines. So I think he would be a great resource. He has a track record. So that would be my 2 cents on the whole issue of getting these to people, right? So anyways, so that's where I'm coming from, just to give you some feedback on that. But I really like this book construction. And like I said, these big name companies out there, if they want to stick with doing hardbacks, that's fine. I love a good hardback book, but doing like a player's edition, player's handbook edition, which is what I would consider this, top. I mean, this is great. I really like that. So we went over character creation. We didn't go over all the character traits that you can have, and the character traits are awesome. Now in the rule book, they have a chart where you can roll 2 10-sided dice or a percentile dice, 0 to 100, and it will help you create a character, kind of like we did back in the old D&D days with the created characters. Or you can go down through the list and pick a trait, and it gives you guidelines for the trait for the different skill levels of your character. Now when you create your character, you're going to roll for your skill level, and then you start with that, and then you go off of that to building out the rest of your character. Now I made a list of some of the character traits, which are pretty nice, I gotta say. There's three character traits. One is a battle trait, second is a personal trait, and the third is a command trait. Now the battle trait I found for this guy, I'm thinking about creating, is Knife Fighter, right? How cool is that? And it gives you a cool little description. And what I'm going to do on the back of my character card, I'm going to put my character traits with what the character trait, what advantage it gives you, and you're rolling or whatever it may be, as a reminder on the back of the card is kind of how I'm going to do mine. So the second trait is a personal trait, is Cunning, okay? And there's a whole bunch to choose from. And the third one is command trait. I picked Italian Bandit. All right, Italian Bandit. I'll let you get the rules, guys. You look them up. You see what they are. You see what they do, and you'll chuckle because it's fun. And like I mentioned in the initial character card that's in the book, you can have various items your guy can carry. You can be carrying booze. You can be carrying like food items. You could really flesh these guys out when you sit down to do your character creation. And I think that's what makes this game really unique and fun, because we all know, especially experienced wargamers, that it's all about the narrative. It's all about scenario creation. So you can have like a wagon train, just like in The Patriot, and you're a group of militiamen, and your job in the scenario is to attack the wagon train and to seize the wagon train. And you can have 10 British soldiers that are there to defend the wagon train. It's endless, really. So I kind of like the name Forager because it implies that you could really create a band of dudes, characters that are foraging, whether it be troops or it could be militia, it could be rebels, going around foraging around the countryside in little scenarios you can get into. Like you go up to a farmhouse that you're gonna go and steal some chickens, and you go there and, hey, inside the barn there happens to be 8 British soldiers in there, right? They decided they were going to crash there for the night. I mean, there's all kinds of cool little scenarios you can come up with. But that was my third and final point, was in the back of the book, or about the middle of the book, they give you all different kinds of cool little scenarios as examples that you can play. And some of the ones that I've read, it already gave me ideas to make similar scenarios with different twists. So you could really have like missions and all kinds of cool things that go on. And then you can, with your friends or with the guy you play with a lot, you could have recurring scenarios that you play out with the same group of dudes. you just resurrect them. You know, that's how we did in D&D. We just resurrected our characters, you know, at the end of the game, and the next time they were back on the board playing again. So shout out to Stand 2 Games. Great rule set. I really like it. It's very unique. But you got to pick it up, guys. Get on there, scour. Maybe Stand 2 Games can put in the comments below the most direct way to get the copy of the rules right now. Like I said, I haven't seen on your website where you can actually order it yet. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on Forager. Look it up, read the rules. The way that you play out the rounds is completely different too, but I'm not going to give it all away. I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm just going to say you're going to like it. You're going to like it. All right, guys, thanks for watching today. Hit like, hit subscribe, and for God's sake, be good. Ciao.